Morning, how are you?
Well, apparently certain Labour lord thinks I'm the lowest of the low. I can deal with that, though. It's fine. Going on.
I'm actually gobsmacked by what I've just listened to. But with all due respect, they're two old men, but they are everything that is wrong with this country. He said several times he was a nice man, but lacked moral compass. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And I said several occasions, lacking moral compass means that you're not perhaps fit for office, to which he
Correct.
said, why did you lose your television show? Now,
Right.
I can go absolutely into that. It took 6 years. I did nothing wrong. That's a fact. So if you want to get personal, I'll get personal, not on air, because I would say the wrong thing. Because
It's
like you, I would think...
very disrespectful. For
What he didn't like was he sits on his arse on £385 a day. I'm asking him to understand what people in the communities of this country, you know this, actually think about the politicians in power. The reason I got you on, sweet, and this to me is what we should be talking about. A story that a migrant 70 who told a girl of 12 to cover her head before sexually assaulting her on the way home from school is spared jail and got a suspended sentence. I'd love Lord Foulkes to be back on, because his government has screwed up an already desperately bad legal system. That's the sort of thing that's wrong with this country, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So there are several things here. First of all, you come into this country, you sexually assault a child, you get off. These men are coming from countries where the ultimate penalty, they will receive the ultimate penalty for murder, for sexual assault, and they think, wow, we can come to the UK, we can abuse children and get away with it. So of course they're coming here. It is a joke, an absolute joke. Now, if we look, I know we haven't got a long time, but if we look at this country now, and we look at our government, and we look at what is happening to our citizens, regardless of what your economy looks like, Jeremy, regardless of what your health service looks like, regardless of your infrastructure, if you cannot stop your country being invaded and your women and children being raped and sexually assaulted and murdered, nothing else matters.
And isn't it interesting that just because of that law, that sort of language would be labelled 10 years ago, you'd have been labelled as a racist or far right. The fact of the matter is, whether we like it or not, there is a massive issue in this country. We had an interview earlier, I don't know if you saw it, with Samara Gill, interviewing a guy called Shahid Butt, a convicted terrorist who is standing as a councillor in Birmingham. He describes Hamas as an OK organisation, says that October the 7th was a reaction to unfairness and will probably get elected. We have to call out what's going on in this country. And whether it's the injustice of the migrant situation, I mean, get me on my favourite subject, show's nearly over. Young white British girls raped for years and still no inquiry. And we know why, because our Prime Minister is terrified of losing the Muslim vote. And I'm not going to stop saying that because it's true.
And do you know what, Jeremy? If you look at most of the things that happened, Rhiannon White, the Midlands, Lily, the Midlands, Katie Fox, Birmingham, all of these girls are all in those constituencies where Jess Phillips sits, where all of those that Labour stronghold, and they know that if they back an inquiry into any of the illegal migrant sexual assaults and murders or the rape gang inquiry, they will lose their seats because they will lose their votes. And that is what this is about. So, you know, no one gives a flying toss about these girls and about their families as long as they keep their seats and they keep on the gravy train.
Which is exactly what I was trying to say to that guy, that the British public are fed up with the gravy chain. They're fed up with the excuses of, oh, you know, the moral compass isn't good. We're fed up with politicians. That's why Nigel Farage is doing okay. Because I tell this story all the time. A journalist said to him in my presence, do you drink, do you smoke, have you been married a few times, do you like a bet? He went, all four. Now tell me, let me ask you, well, you tell me how. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'd love to have you on. My mother-in-law says you're fantastic, so you're very good. Reform candidate for Epping and the Thaden Boys. I hope you do well in that. Orla Minahane, thank you very much. The original pink lady.